Okay, man. Yo, looking back in the building, bro. It's your friendly neighborhood mushroom, man. Cut the goddamn clapping, man. Cut the applause. Cut the applause. Man, hey, welcome back, family. It's your friendly neighborhood mushroom, man. It's your boy Max Sherman. And best believe we back in the building. Another day, another dollar, another stream, another day to be great. Best believe that I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm gonna take advantage of it, bro. All right, so check me out, right? We got a nice little stream lined up for you guys today. We're gonna probably get a little bit political, man. I found a couple videos that I feel like piqued my interest, and you know, it's my job to bring it to the people. So, hey, you know, I'm gonna do exactly that. So, without having to talk too much, I'm gonna just try to get right into it. Hold on, let it drop. All right. All right, thank you, guys. That song was Fortune Teller by Hippie Sabotage, one of my favorite bands. Shout out to those guys. Gonna bring us our first video. I think we're gonna do this one first. All right, so this is it's a video of Van Lathan unleashing MAGA prudence, racism, and heated debate. Chat. I don't know too much about Van Lathan, but I'm definitely one for heated debates. I can already tell by this little clip at the pause screen that this lady is not gonna like what this man is saying. Wait, Van Lathan, is that the guy from what's it called? TMZ? Is that the TMZ guy? Nah, I don't know who Van Lathan is. I've heard the name though. All right, we about to find out about him.
People who were ripped from their homes and detained
for hours.
With no warrants for hours, traumatized. Detain what?
First of all, detain is not the same as arrest. Second
How
of all,
would you like to be detained sitting outside of your home?
Detain ain't the same as arrest. Bro, ain't nobody trying to hit that shit. Detain? For how long, bro? Just until? Just that's not right.
Wait, why do we go over? We trust people to be honest? Like, is that the alternative? Is that the alternative?
No, yeah, the alternative is for law enforcement to do their job.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
They are detaining the right people.
God damn, bro, that's exactly what they need to be doing, bro. This is about to get good, G. I'm sure this is about to be great, Chad. I'm already knowing.
How do they determine that? They have to see the papers.
And then they said, I don't believe you. Let me put you in some zip ties.
You know what the difference
You
is?
need
When they're
to.
going into
We're gonna.
no,
Hold on a second. No. Hold on a second.
37 illegal aliens. Pull up January 6th because we can just go back 6 months before that with the Black Lives Matter riots and how many people were not arrested for their crimes. Where were the arrests at? Where were the arrests?
Virtually nobody got arrested.
Where were
the arrests? I don't want us to forget.
How should they differentiate between who's who?
You trust the DHS?
Yo, this is just the previews.
I don't want us
That happens to black and brown Americans
Just one second.
every single day.
I don't want
You
us
don't
to
have that
forget.
experience, and you
I don't want us to forget that we're talking about an apartment building in the
How
it's
should
a
ICE
choice.
agents then determine who's who?
They should know who they're going after and target those people.
So they should discriminate.
Hey man, my boy just short circuited. He literally short circuiting, bro.
So what you guys are essentially saying?
Hello everybody. Guys, we got Mini MAGA and Scott Jennings today.
Holy shit.
We knew black people would be caught in the middle of this. This is one of the craziest segments I've covered. Let's get into this. There's a whole lot to get to.
You're learning more about the ICE raid on this apartment building in Chicago where federal agents stormed it in the dead of night.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Helicopters and military-style trucks, flashbangs. Witnesses say everyone in the building was detained, including U.S. citizens. Others saw children zip-tied together, and some separated from their parents. Now, one witness told CNN, I've been on military bases for a good portion of my life, and the activity I saw, It was an invasion. Now, the administration says it targeted and arrested dozens of gang members as the White House celebrates the operation across the city.
Gang members? Is that what ICE is here for? ICE is here for gang members? Nah, bro. Man, this is all alternative motives, bro. This is truly a war on Chicago.
Another scene. Witnesses say that masked men threw chemical agents at people
What?
from this car. You can see it there. Now, CNN has not been able to verify who exactly they were, but lawmakers say that while it's not clear if they were agents, they were asking about citizenship status and detained multiple people. Now, also in the administration's crosshairs is Portland, Oregon. Once again, after a MAGA influencer was arrested during a scuffle outside of an ICE facility, this is what they had to say.
The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists.
We're sending in the Department of War at the request that I made to Secretary Hegseth. They're going to be rolling in here within the next 24 hours. What we saw happen to that journalist last night will not happen again.
Man.
This comes just days after President Trump told the military that he wants American cities to be their training grounds. And it seems like, Alencia, they're getting ready to carry out that promise. Just to reiterate what you heard Caroline Levitt say, she described Portland as war-ravaged.
Yeah, you know, it's really frustrating and disgusting to hear the president and those coming out of this administration talking about U.S. cities this way. I remember in 2024, I was senior advisor to Vice President Harris's campaign when folks said that she was lying.
Hey, big flex.
She said that Donald Trump is going to send the military on the American people. And that's exactly what he's doing. And what she did also say is talking about left-wing domestic terrorists. It's a problem when people dissent, right, to this administration. It's a
Bro, we been had left-wing domestic terrorists since the fucking 1865. What the fuck are we talking about? Bro, the KKK was the biggest organization in the 1920s. What you think Make America Great Again is about? Bro, this is literally the KKK's 100th year anniversary type shit, bro. They trying to come back strong. And for the fact that y'all don't think that it's left-wing terrorists in the country, what she say? I don't even fucking know, but this is crazy. Ain't these the same people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th? Bro, what are we talking about?
Bruh.
problem when they do, but I know we're going to talk about this when a conservative influencer is all of a sudden arrested. It's a huge issue, and that all of a sudden the police are corrupt, and yet there's no conversation about the police's overreach or the military's overreach in these communities when folks who disagree with this administration bring these claims.
Speak on it then.
I mean, how
Come
does
on.
that work, Scott? I mean, all of a sudden, you know, obviously journalists shouldn't be arrested, but this is not the first time, even in the last few months, that journalists have been arrested at protests. And it seems that in this particular instance, he was in a physical altercation with protesters. And so everybody was arrested. So now all of a sudden that's a predicate for bringing the military into Portland?
Well, no, the predicate is that Portland has been occupied by Antifa for quite some time.
What the fuck is Antifa, bro?
These aren't protests.
How is Antifa a bad thing? It's literally anti-fascism, bro. So should we just let fascists just rule the country?
These are violent people. They're attacking.
They're not fucking violent.
Federal facilities. The president.
They're defending themselves because the climate of the country is so fucked because the law enforcement is not being like truly held accountable for their brutality that they feel that they need to have on black and brown people. And just like they said, it's like, no, these white conservatives are willing to say the police are corrupt when the shit happens to them, but like until it happens to them, they just blind to it. That's what I'm tweaking over.
The United States has every obligation to defend federal facilities and federal personnel there. I agree with you. It is a disgrace. It's a disgrace that we have an American city that is essentially being occupied by left-wing radicals, and the locals won't do anything about it. And so now the president...
Exaggeration of what's
it
happening.
is
What
not
you
exaggeration.
talking about, bro?
The
I see the
situation
video.
by local officials has been described as something that's essentially happening in one city block of Portland.
They are
Portland
assaulting
is
the ICE facilities. They are
Portland
assaulting the ICE
is
agents.
a city, and it's not a perfect city, but it is a city. And something occurring in one city block is suddenly Portland is war ravaged.
Do you dispute that they've attacked the ICE facility?
I didn't say anything about that. I
Can
said
you
that it's
dispute
happening
that? Can you dispute that a couple people did it and not the whole goddamn city? What are we talking about, bro?
in one block
Okay.
of the city.
Is that
so?
how many blocks is it?
Does that constitute Portland being a war-ravaged city?
I think what's happened in Portland is a disgrace. Nobody wants to go there. And yes,
Answer the question.
Parts of the city are
Yeah,
ravaged
answer
by
the question.
protesters, and federal
would you describe
officials
a city as being
believe their facilities are
war-ravaged
under attack.
when there are violent protests, which, by the way, nothing new about violent protests, as you know.
So it's not new, so we should let it go.
When violent protests happen, law enforcement has a responsibility to handle it. But would you describe an entire city as war-ravaged when there are protests, even if they're violent, that's happening outside of a single building?
Yes, I would say if there are violent protests happening against a federal facility, they are being ravaged. I completely agree with that language.
The whole city, though?
She said war ravaged. He thinks he's slick. And
Man.
be careful about that. And the irony that this lapdog says that while Trump pardoned the January 6 rioters who beat the crap out of cops.
Exactly.
I hope Hispanics remember all of this and how these people have been treating our people.
This is absolutely insane, bro. I don't even understand how you can sit here and have this type of rhetoric and just not expect nobody to push back off this shit. This is absolutely insane.
Come in its place. So that these people, that whole thing serves as we are
American cities can be training grounds for the military. Anyone who halfway cares about the freedom of the average America, that should have a chilling effect on you, that a president would say that. It's so far beyond the pale of what we would have accepted in past decades and times of a norm for a commander-in-chief. It's absurd. It's interesting here
Absolutely
that everybody
absurd.
was arrested and they're honing in on this one guy. The underlying, I guess, lesson that I get from that is kind of the lesson I get from MAGA, is that they get to choose which Americans matter insofar as who we should care about gets arrested, who we should care about is treated fairly. And when one of their own gets treated that way, then we have to send in the military. All of this stuff is a part and parcel of what we've been seeing going on. And if we don't have the courage and the actual gumption to stand up to it, it's just going to get worse.
Well, I would kind of push back on the idea that Donald Trump is, acting unprecedented. I remember when Tim Walz sent the National Guard in down the streets of Minnesota telling people to stay inside their houses. I mean, that was militarization. But to the point of who is getting targeted here, look, Katie Davis Court is an independent reporter. She was attacked this week in Portland. She has a huge black eye. Her attacker was not arrested, right? Nick Sorter, according to the video footage that is online, it appears that he was being harassed and targeted by these violent agitators, and they were not held accountable at all for threatening him, for seemingly agitating the situation to a degree, and yet he was. And the Portland police have not come out yet with any kind of information to give us any indication why they made that arrest.
Are you, I want to make sure I'm not confusing incidents, but you're suggesting that the people that he was in an altercation with were not arrested. They were arrested. They were all arrested according to the Portland PD.
Right,
and in fact, there were arrests that were made by federal agencies in the same scuffle. Federal police officers made arrests of protesters and anti-protesters who were in altercations. So the idea that this is Portland PD just being, targeting pro-MAGA voices is just not true.
Right, but the larger point of this, and to Scott's earlier point, this has been going on, especially this past week. We have seen violent agitators there, and they have not arrested other violent agitators who have thrown things at federal law enforcement, who have attacked a federal building. So when they do go after Nick Sorter, it makes you wonder.
I guess the thing is,
but it makes you wonder, what have they been doing all week with these violent agitators?
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, is because it's not true that they have not been arrested. There have been arrests. There have been many arrests over the last few days. The press releases have been sent out by both the federal officials and by local officials. There have been arrests. But I mean, is the concern about, police aggression against journalists? Because there was a journalist just in the last week who had ICE officials shooting, non-live ammunition at their vehicle when they were in a clearly marked press vehicle. That also happened. I heard nothing about that. I mean, there were journalists arrested in Los Angeles during those protests. Nothing about that. I mean, why?
Well, I think what
She's brain dead.
Dan is trying to say, and to pull apart some of what you're saying, is that it becomes an issue for the right when it is someone that leans towards their ideology. Versus having the conversation where you have pointed out several people have been arrested. But in this whole conversation about ICE and people protesting, I'm stepping back and thinking about why people are protesting at these ICE facilities, because they are frustrated with what is happening in communities and the inhumane.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
That this administration is taking on migrant people. And so what all of this conversation and all of that's happening in Portland and even in other cities, it's showing the American people that dissent is not really welcome here when you disagree with inhumane practices that this government.
Do you believe there's a difference between dissent and protest or violence?
I do.
What?
And do you agree there's been violence in Portland?
Can I ask you guys?
See, I hate these weird backwards ass questions, bro. It's like, just look at his smug ass face, bro. He know he word weaving. And it's like, stop, bro. This is literally just a panel that it's okay. You can be wrong. It's okay to backpedal and change your views. You don't have to stand on the same stupid ass, you don't gotta die on the stupid ass hill that you was born on, bro. You really don't have to. It's okay. It's like, bro, my biggest thing is like instead of just realizing that you wrong and just like seeing the error in your ways and just changing and being a better human being, no, you gonna stand on this shit, bro. You gonna continue to push back. Like, these people are just crazy. These citizens are just like they just don't like the police. It's like, nah, bro, why don't they like the police? Why are they acting like this? Come on, bro, the question is deeper. And then don't say, bro, you know, at a certain point, this becomes the whole argument, which was first, the chicken or the egg. Are the people violent because of authority, or is the authority violent because of the people? Let's be serious, G. And in all seriousness, this shouldn't even be a discussion, because all of these people that are in these like positions of authority, whether they ICE agents, whether they military, whether they police, bro, their family are civilians, bro. They family are civilians. They family don't get to walk around with badges on them. So why are you treating the public as if other law enforcements and other positions of authority won't do the same thing to your loved ones, bro? Why is this so crazy? For real, man, get this shit together. Y'all gotta lock in, bro. Y'all are public servants, G. Y'all are not utilitarian fucking Gestapo, bro. What are we talking about here?
The question, just real quick. Do you guys think that there's a difference between dissent and protest and violence?
Of course, but what's happening in Portland is violent.
Hold on. Scott is such an idiot. I'll rewind it a few seconds. He's such an idiot.
Yeah, he
no
is.
one cares when cops or law enforcement comes in and arrest people who commit crimes or criminals being arrested. Literally, everyone wants criminals arrested. The problem is ICE is zip-tying children and tackling mothers who show up to court and doing it the right way. Like, just for a second, step back.
No, seriously though. If they was actually doing the due process of like detaining these citizens at this point, because I don't understand how an undocumented migrant can be tracked. It's like a bit of a contradiction in my opinion, because it's like, bro, if you don't have any paperwork, if you undocumented, how are you being tracked? And the thing is, if you just going after anybody that look like they from like Hispanic descent, that's literally what Hitler was doing, bro. That's literally what he was doing. Bro. This is crazy. This is supposed to be America. It's like, and the thing is, I don't know if the black people realize it or not, but it's like after they get done with the Mexicans, they coming for us. For real. I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. We was never safe here. We was never safe here, bro.
Imagine someone tackling your mother against the wall that caused her to be injured.
Yeah, bro.
The floor, yelled at.
I'm not finna be peaceful. I'm not finna be peaceful and ask questions to this cop. I'm not finna be asking questions, bro. You got my little sister, my daughter, hog-tied on the floor somewhere, and my mama, y'all just tackled her, sitting on her goddamn back. It's like, bro, what you mean? What do you mean? Why are we violent? Is this violence? Nigga, y'all started it.
I couldn't imagine the things I would do to someone.
You feel me?
That done to my mother.
Absolutely.
I would pounce on you like a rabid wolf. Like, of course, this is going to cause people to be outraged, which I believe is what Trump wants. He doesn't have to do it this way. He wants to do it this way. I think he wants a big riot. He's a wannabe dictator. He wants to create the chaos and then act like he fixed it. And for sure, he's trying to distract from these Epstein files. We talked about this. He was going to do everything and anything he can to distract from those files.
It is absolutely violent.
So can I ask you a question? Would you guys be in favor of, say, pardoning people who were engaged in violent protests and broke windows and stormed into things and beat up police officers? What would you think about a leader that would do? What would you think about, like, want to hang the vice president? What would you think about a president that did something like that?
I didn't agree with pardoning people who committed violent actions.
Okay, so
no. I didn't ask. Did you agree? I didn't ask that. I asked you a question.
Well, so then what I'm saying is, there you have it. What you have here is a clear blueprint of what we're talking about. You have a double standard in the way that this is looked. On the one hand, you have violent people that attack the seat of power in the United States of America.
Bro, they stormed the White House and got pardoned for it.
Bruh.
And you over here talking about violent protest. What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about?
And not only are they pardoned, they are celebrated.
But they did go to jail.
And then they are celebrated by your side when you guys get power.
They did go to jail.
And now we are getting a full-throated lecture on violence and protest when ICE is breaking into people's homes.
I would counter that. You can't even pull up January 6th because we can just go about 6 months before that with the Black Lives Matter riots and how many people were not arrested for their crimes. Where were the arrests at?
Where were the arrests?
Virtually nobody got arrested.
What are you talking about, lady? What are you talking about?
Where were the
Guys,
arrests?
let's not do the hyperbole thing, okay? Hundreds of people were arrested in the Black Lives Matter protest.
That wasn't nearly enough.
Many of them were prosecuted federally.
Billions in damage.
Hold on a second.
David Warren,
many of them.
What you think they did to the White House? Billions of damage. What are y'all talking about, bro?
Many of them were prosecuted federally. Many of them served time for those offenses. So that actually happened. Let's not be hyperbolic about it. Caroline Leavitt also saying that in addition to, I guess, bringing in the troops to Portland, they're going to use the federal government to pull money from the city. Listen to this.
I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately, including enhanced CBP and ICE resources. Law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it.
You know, one of the interesting things about this is the use of ICE and CBP as the vehicle for their desire to crack down on Democratic-led cities. Now, I mean, obviously there's ICE enforcement that has to happen in the country, but you can hear her saying there that, in her view, the failure to deal with protests outside of a federal building means that they're going to send in more immigration enforcement agents. It just feels like this has just become a way for the administration to use immigration agents as their personal police force, a federal police force, which, by the way, is not the way that they're supposed to be used.
Not at all.
Well, they are federal law enforcement.
And he's about to push back on it? Chad, hold on, give me a second. he's literally about to push back on it and say, no, that's actually what they're for.
And to the extent that you have illegal immigration activity or attacks on ICE facilities in a city, the federal government has to enforce the law and defend their property. This didn't start in Portland a few days ago. This has been going on and on and on for years. Why does a major American city get to exist in a state of anarchy, even if it's not the entire city, even if it's just a block, however big it is? Why does that get to be perpetuated? Why is that okay? Why are we accepting this decline in America?
I'm not understanding why all of a sudden this form of anarchy is so different from, say, high crime in, southern cities that are Republican states. That doesn't rise
with
to
Democrat
your...
Hit him.
No, definitely.
Hit him with it.
But I'm just saying, listen, we have
I hate this argument. Well, the governor has more power. You do know that the mayor is limited as to what they can do in their city without the governor's help, you idiot. And do you think a governor in a red state is very helpful to a Democrat mayor? Like, these people are so stupid.
federalized, we have a system in this country where states get to run their own states. All of a sudden, that's not acceptable to you.
It's not acceptable for local officials to allow anarchy where federal buildings are under attack. And regarding southern cities, they've been in Memphis all week. And by the way, it's working. They've arrested hundreds of people, illegal guns, people with serious violence in their background. They've made immigration arrests. It's working in Chicago, over 1,000 arrests this week. They're not singling out Portland. They're going after any city with massive illegal immigration, local violence, and
Look,
bad people that need to be taken off the streets.
I think it is an interesting new moment for the country to have the federal government involved in state and local level law enforcement. And I'm just pointing out that this is where we are as a country, and that's a different place than where we were before.
I mean, it's a place that I didn't.
And guys, again, have you noticed
it's completely unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. Why is the federal government policing individual cities and states, bro?
Bruh.
That's absolutely insane.
Black people literally get thrown in the middle of every effing argument or issue. It's insane to me. But hey, how about those Black Lives Matter? Like, they'll get more into this in a second. It's unbelievable to me that there's any black person or brown person who votes for these pricks.
Man, G, tell me about it.
I'm still waiting to see all the white Europeans being deported or white Americans accidentally detained because they couldn't tell if this person was an American citizen or not. Like, how they make this excuse for black people, oh, we have to make sure. As soon, right, like I have aunts, right? I have family members that resemble Abby Phillips. But as soon as you talk to them, yeah, you'll know that they're not American, right? Well, or born here, right? Like, these people are so stupid. As soon as a black person talks, a black person that was born in America, you don't know that they're American and that they have perfectly speaking English. Like, how are you making this mistake? I don't get that.
Man, and even if they didn't speak English, even if they did not speak perfectly good English, bro, that does not deconstitute if they are fucking American or not. It's like, since when was speaking English an American thing, bro? This has been the land of immigrants, the great melting pot. It's like, we have more language diversity than any other place in the whole freaking world, bro. Well, I don't know. Nevertheless, bro, come on, bro. Since when was speaking English a pass of being a United States citizen? The fuck are we talking about?
I was actually going to have to be in when we live in the United States, and I think about, you mentioned Chicago, just the scene of children being torn from their homes in the middle of the night because of this over-militarization of a community. And just to think of the trauma and what that's going to do for the next generations to come.
It's terrible when the children of Trinidad, Aragua are having to be...
Bro, what are you talking about?
It doesn't work for Republicans because it never has.
Violent situations.
But I actually have a bit of humanity.
You talking about and this is how you make... This is how you literally breed terrorists. This is how you breed terrorism, bro. It's like, you demonize these kids at such a young age, bro, for the fact that you believe this is where their parents came from. What are you talking about? So you about to detain the whole family and not think that they gonna like, and you think that they gonna love America at the end of this and join the army and all of this stuff and fight for you? Absolutely not, bro. This is how you wind up with a compromised country. G, you have to treat your citizens correctly. That's absolutely insane. To kids.
First of all, we don't know who those children were, but I imagine that there were other children who were not.
And then you just saying that they're children of cartel members. How the hell do you know that? How do you know that? You literally coming in, you kicking doors in the middle of the night, detaining any and everybody that look like they speak Spanish. You ain't asking for paperwork. You ain't asking for none of that. What are we talking about? How do you know how do you know what work these kids' parents are doing? What are we talking about? And even if they are cartel members, so fucking what, bro? They're kids. Arrest the parents, G.
There were a lot of black children who were unaffiliated.
Exactly. Exactly. What about all the black kids whose parents are in gangs? What black kids? What you gonna do with the black kids that parents run the streets and that's in gangs? You gonna detain them too just because their parents might have an alternative lifestyle? Bro, these are citizens, bro. These are fucking United States citizens, and I just need everybody to just listen to this for 1 second and just stand on business, bro. For real, G, you don't know what these people's lives are. You literally just you making this call based off of a language and a skin tone. This is fucking this is Nazi Germany and repeat. This is Nazi Germany and repeat.
Black children, black people who were ripped from their homes and detained
for hours,
with no warrants for hours,
yeah, but
traumatized. Detain
what? First of all, detain is not the same as arrest. Second,
Detained is not the same as arrest. Do you not know what a detainment camp looks like? Do you not know what they did to the Japanese after Pearl Harbor? Do you not understand what... Bro, you can be detained until the investigation is over. I'm not trying to hear that, bro. You don't know what detainment is, bro.
How would you like to be detained sitting outside of your home?
Wait.
Yeah, shut your...
How do we go over what standard procedures are? When immigration officials and federal authorities are entering a hostile situation where there are known criminals and known members of a terrorist organization, they have to go in and detain. Yes. And when you're going in there to...
So why don't they do that to Mississippi, where the Klan be at? Why don't they do that with Indiana, where the Klan be at? Why don't they do that to basically everywhere where the Klan be at, bro? Come on, bro. When it comes to detaining people, what happened on January 6th? And that's another thing. You always want to talk about these rioters that should have been arrested and stuff. Yeah, they got arrested, just like the people on January 6th. The thing is, the January 6th fucking terrorists that stormed the goddamn cash, that stormed the Capitol, they were all pardoned. They were all pardoned. They all got their jobs still. Like ain't nobody get canceled, bro. Ain't nobody got a record for it. Nah, they actually get celebrated.
I just want to be clear that what you're talking about...
That's such
brother, this guy stinks!
bullshit. You're gonna tell me if Scott Jennings was in that building that they would detain him? After asking him if he's an American, he answered, they're gonna still detain him. This is such bullshit.
Because we talked about this at the beginning. Children zip tied, okay?
By the way, DHS disputes that. They dispute it.
We can't believe everything.
Hold on a
I
second.
called them. We talked about this this afternoon. I called them. I said...
I called and I asked if...
They said that did not happen. They did say this.
Of course they're going to say that.
I called them directly and I asked them the question and they said it never happened.
Yeah.
What did they say did not happen?
They said this did not happen. But oftentimes and every time when they go into a situation with violent people,
Hey, look at her face, Chad. Look at her face. Hey, she know this man is lying through his teeth. Oh my God. Look, oh my God. That's absolutely great. That's absolutely great.
Skip it up and that up.
First thing they do is remove children from a dangerous situation, and they're not in the care of DHS. They immediately go into the care of DHS.
So let me just.
Scott, you're a lapdog. No one believes you or what DHS tells you. Trump's administration. You're literally a lapdog. Trump can do no wrong.
So yeah, we just supposed to believe you. We just supposed to just take your word for it. Oh yeah. Since Scott called and asked about it, yeah, you know what, guys, everything's all right. They didn't zip tie kids and put them on the floor.
On
No.
your eyes. Like, that's a pointless statement that he said. No one believes you.
No, he sucks, man. This guy sucks.
One note, because we received a statement from them where they talked about how they were separating children who might have been associated with some of the people who were arrested for gang affiliations. But we also don't know if those are the same children that these witnesses were talking about. I mean, the witnesses said that they saw children crying. They looked distraught. They were out there crying. I saw a little girl come around the corner because they were bringing the kids down too and had them zip tied to each other. So
They
this
dispute it. They dispute it. I'm just telling you. I call them.
I understand that they dispute that. I'm just saying.
So what did this person see? You feel me? It's easy. These people in these positions, they normally dispute the criminal acts they cause. Yeah, that's normal for them to dispute.
This person was there, and this is what they say, so people can make of that.
Didn't the guy say he didn't stand on George Floyd's neck? Didn't he dispute that?
The horrors of what happened to the children is one thing. You also had American citizens, black American citizens, that were drugged out of their homes and detained and put through something that they should not have had to go through. And when we are
why are you laughing though, shorty? Why do you think this is funny? Why do you think this is like I don't know why it's a little smug ass smile on your face, G.
having a conversation about how customary it
Like, he's just so wrong, and I can't wait to prove it to him.
is to detain someone. I want people to remember the historic implications of that for black people.
Okay, hold on. Wait, what would be? Wait, let me ask you honestly. What would be the alternative to go in there and say, okay, guys, raise your hand if you are an American citizen, and we're going to let you out of here. Do you trust people to be honest?
No, you say, hey, I'm here for this. Let me see your paperwork. Just like it's a fucking traffic stop. You don't, on a traffic stop, you don't just pull people over and start snatching them out the car. You ask for their information, and then you proceed with the process. What the fuck? You could easily ask, hey, bro, hey, we here for this, that, and the third, man. You know, I don't want to take you away, but I just need to make sure that y'all legit. And you know what? That you probably wouldn't get as much pushback, bro, if you just treated these people like people and stopped treating them like fucking animals, bro.
Is that the alternative?
Talking about, yeah, go in and raise your hand if you're a citizen. No, bro, ain't nobody asking for that, bro. Hey, give me your paperwork, and if you don't, you're gonna have to come with me. You're not getting arrested, but we're gonna have to just figure this out. Come on, bro, talk to these people.
No, yeah, the alternative is for law enforcement to do their job.
Yes,
and
that's
make
what
sure
they're
that
doing.
They are detaining the right people.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's all I really ask.
It's for law enforcement
They have to see
like
the papers.
a scalpel and not like a hatchet.
Brianna, 1 second. When you
Yeah, Brianna, shut your ass up, man. Brianna, you about to make yourself look really, really silly on national television, lady.
Skip it up and that up.
down the street, when you walk down the street and so let's say hypothetically a law enforcement person came up to you and said, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" What are you going to say?
Well, that's not the question.
No,
at
no.
all.
Let me ask you.
No,
If they said that to you, what would you say?
I would say yes.
Okay, and then they said, "I don't believe you. Let me put you
Yeah, but
in
you know
some
what the
zip
difference is?
ties."
You know what the difference
You
is? When
need
they're
to.
going into
We're
a
gonna.
hostile
No, hold on a
situation,
second.
Abby, you're
No.
They're not going into a hostile situation, bro. They're going into somebody's house. They're going into a fucking resident. How is this a hostile situation? They're the ones making it a hostile situation by the way that they show up, the way they conduct their business. they're the ones that's making the situation more hostile than absolutely necessary.
Hold on a second.
People
There were 37 illegal aliens
out of hundreds of
This is where people live, man.
Listen, I think that I'm just
Exactly.
I'm laying out the scenario
They
that
didn't
you
bust
just
the crack
described.
house.
But the
That's
scenario
the-
I'm
hold on.
describing is
Brianna, you just
actually, they
described
did
the
find
scenario
Yes, and
in which
they
you
were
say
racially
that their
profiling
only
these people.
choice.
And if they found drugs, they found drugs. Just because they found drugs somewhere does not mean it's a hostile environment, bro. What the hell are we talking about?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Skip it up and down.
Is to detain someone, make them not free to go, take away their freedom for however long, so that they can prove, not to take your word for it, but to prove that they are citizens. And if that happened to you, walking down the streets of New York, you would probably file a lawsuit, would you not?
Abby, you are completely taking what I said out of context. So I will say it again. When a law enforcement official is going into a situation or an environment in which they know that there are criminal gang members in a confined environment in an apartment complex.
We have to go.
And in
but
in an apartment
I don't want us to forget.
how should they differentiate between who's who?
Hold on a second. I don't want us to
very real situation.
I don't want us
that
to
happens to black and brown
Just one
Americans
second.
every
Just one
single
second.
day.
I don't want
You
us
don't
to
have that
forget.
experience. So
Hey, come on, man. She being real nice. She being real nice. She about to get loud with y'all ass.
I don't want us to forget that we're talking about an apartment.
Mini MAGA is literally making the argument that, yeah, we should racially profile. If this area has illegal immigrants, then yeah, everyone there should be racially profiled. Even, like, again, if you stop Van Lathan there, and they ask him if he's a citizen, as soon as he speaks, how do you not believe him? Perfect speaking English, and you still don't believe him? That's why you got to make the argument more direct. If Scott Jennings was in that building, would he have gotten detained after he said that he was an American? Would they be like, oh, no, we don't believe you? Like, get the F out of here. Kamala Harris tried to tell us about all of this, and not enough people took her serious. She must be somewhere smoking a cigar like, I told y'all. Like,
Man, Kamala's somewhere throwing it back on some. I ain't even finna. I ain't going.
Skip it
blame a lot of people for where we are now. Hispanics for Trump is probably at the top of my list. How these idiots couldn't see that they do not see you as one of them, no matter how legal or not, or how many generations you've been here. You're never going to be seen as equal. Black people tried to tell you this over and over, and all they got was, me no black, me no black. I'm kidding about that, but not completely. Like, I truly believe a lot of Hispanics felt they would be accepted into the team and couldn't vote for the black woman or whatever. Well, now you're finding out what these people, and please make the arguments that Kamala Harris would have done anything along this level. Hell no, she wouldn't.
Yeah, nah. To be honest, I think Trump is doing everything people thought Kamala Harris would do. And I think it's really interesting because during the initial election, I found that a lot of Hispanic people were siding with Trump. And yeah, I'm sure this decision is biting him in the ass right now because he don't rock with y'all, G. It is what it is.
We are two things to Republicans: cheap labor and violent. That's all.
Apartment building in the middle of the night
Yep.
where people,
Yes, a
many
confined
innocent
location.
people,
Can I-
many innocent people were sleeping in their beds,
100%,
going about their
but
lives.
ICE
They don't have,
agents
they don't
prove
have
they're
a,
innocent.
hold on a second. They don't have a choice about who their neighbors are, okay?
Right,
They
of
live
course.
where they live. So
But how
it's
should
a
ICE
choice.
agents then determine who's who?
They should know who they're going after and target those people.
So they should discriminate. They should racially profile.
So what you guys are essentially saying.
The opposite of racially profiling. These, look at Mini MAGA. She has a quarter of a brain. The opposite.
Calls her Mini
Abby saying
MAGA,
that you
that's
should know
hilarious.
before you go in there who you are trying to detain and arrest.
Real shit. Before you kick a door, you should know exactly who you looking for. You should know exactly who you looking for. And if you don't find them people, you should leave. What are you doing, bro?
Not just random people based on how they look. You effing moron. You're the one making that argument. This is what I mean. Incapable, brain dead. Look at her goofy face.
Is that the police should be able to walk up and down the streets of America,
That is not at
pull
all. You
people
keep
to the
putting
side,
words in my mouth
and
that
then
doesn't
say,
make it true.
and then say, hey,
I know
we
why
want to
they
make
did
sure
it.
you're not a criminal.
No, when
So-
you're
No, 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 no. You talking about his word. You talking about he putting words in your mouth, and that's not exactly what he's doing. He's saying any given block in Chicago can be considered hostile. At that point, should you just be able to knock on the door, not even knock on the door, kick a door in and just detain any and everybody because you heard this block is a little dangerous? For real, bro? For real? To the point where you taking kids and everything, and you don't even know who you looking for. You just heard that this is a hostile environment, so now everybody is criminals at this point? Man, that's not right, bro.
Bruh.
I'm telling you, man, this is Nazi Germany on repeat.
So I actually called, since we had this conversation, I called DHS. I spoke to a senior counselor, to the secretary. I spoke to the assistant secretary. I said, how did you come to this apartment building? She said, well, the person who owns the apartment building called us and said, I'm pretty sure Tren de Aragua has set up shop in here. Could you please come? And it turns out they had been in there squatting, not paying any rent. The owner of the apartment building asked the law enforcement to come in because they knew there was transnational terrorist organization operating there.
How the fuck? How the hell do you know a cartel is operating in a unit of your apartment?
That mattered less.
I don't.
Than having transnational terrorists on America?
How do you realize that a transnational terrorist is occupying your apartment unit? How do you know this? How do you know this?
How does it matter for taking children out in the middle of the night?
You're wild.
And detaining black people who are U.S.
Separating children from dangerous transnational gangs?
Bro, we're not even talking about the transnational gangs, bro. We're not even talking about that right now. Let's leave that alone. We're talking about black people. We're talking about black people. We're talking about kicking in the doors of black citizens that speak perfectly good English, that could provide you with an ID or some type of identification. Why are they getting their doors kicked in? Why are these kids getting linked to each other? We ain't even on the immigrants yet. Let's figure out why is he doing this to actual citizens, G? The people that they know are citizens.
Scott,
terrorizing
all right.
black and brown
Listen,
children.
Scott.
And the thing is, they think they can do it because the environment is hostile. That's the excuse y'all giving. So anybody that's in the ghetto, anybody that stay in the hood is liable to be detained for absolutely no fucking reason by ICE because they assume that you might not be a fucking citizen. Are you serious? Man, hey, y'all better tighten the fuck up. Tighten up because it's about to get wicked in the goddamn country.
Oh shit!
People's constitutional rights are their constitutional rights.
Real shit.
In this country, you have a right to not be searched without a warrant.
Exactly.
In this country, you have a right to your liberty unless you are actually accused of doing something wrong. So when you are sleeping in your bed and you happen to live somewhere, you have a right to not be detained just for physically being in not even being in the same apartment, but being in the building
I think you're
or
overblowing
something else.
detained.
It's not overblowing.
No, she's not overblowing detained. We literally just talked about it. We just talked about what a detainee is.
Arrested.
It's
37 illegal aliens are arrested.
I know
no
for
Americans
a fact
are
that
arrested.
neither of you would want to be detained for any amount of time
Real
for not
shit.
doing anything
If I were
wrong.
living under a
And
Tren de Aragua,
it's totally fine for
I
you
think
to
I would want them
put that on
gone.
somebody
I think I would
else.
want.
Bro, if you were standing in an apartment building with Hispanic people and the ICE member kicked in your door and said, you gotta come with us, put them shackles on you and hauled you out. You, your kids, your wife, everybody. Because they think your neighbors might be doing something? You think that's okay? Man, you need help.
Bruh.
would not want that to happen to you. And you would certainly not want it to
Momentary,
happen to your children.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to happen to me. I wouldn't want it to happen to you. I wouldn't want it to happen to nobody, man. I think if any type of authority is coming in to like a residence, they should know exactly what they there for, bro.
If your child was detained for any amount of time, You would not want that to happen.
Also,
Scott.
they
And I
check to
think
see if
that's
these
what-
children are part
it's
of
a-
human trafficking.
it's a
That's the
question-
other issue
hold on,
that's
it's a
going on.
Oh
question
my
of
God,
empathy.
bro!
Not-
It's always
question of empathy. Would you want it to happen
another
to
level
you,
of
right?
justice.
Empathy for the victims of Tren de Aragua? I do.
Of
Maybe
course
you
I
don't.
do.
I mean, I agree.
course
It's a question of empathy.
course
We
I
seem
do.
to have empathy
but,
for the.
But you don't want to doubly victimize people.
these people
for
are not the victims.
for just living their lives.
I have empathy for the black people in that community that I saw on video talk about how frightened they were, how scared they were, and the trauma that was inflicted on them with something that they have nothing to do with. And here's the reality. It's going to happen all over American cities unless people have the courage to say that this is not the way that we run our
The courage to
society.
say, let the Tren de Aragua stay here, please.
That's not what anybody said.
That's
That's
exactly
not what
the
anybody
logic
is saying. That's not what anybody is saying, G. You literally didn't hear a word that Van just said. He ain't say nothing about Tren de Aragua. He literally just said the black people that were traumatized. Bro, what are we talking about? Speak on that. Speak on that, man. Stop deflecting.
We're gonna have to leave it there. We have more.
Exactly, man. We gotta leave
I
this
get it,
alone
Van.
because we
It's
just
like,
talking in
you
circles
give
at
up
this
with some
point.
of these people.
Exactly.
No one wants gangs or violence. You dumb. Let me stop there. Like Scott.
Bro, yeah, G. I swear to God, these people are they feel they seem to feel like we're arguing for the legalization of gang members and stuff like that. No one wants that. No one wants that. If they're assholes, kick them out the country. But if they're just family, if they're just a fucking family, even if they're illegal, bro, I don't even give a fuck. But you can't just say we heard it's a hostile environment. Somebody threw out the word Tren de Aragua somewhere, and now everybody in this whole block, this whole apartment complex is being detained. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's not American. It's unconstitutional, and shame on you for actually believing that, man. W video. WW video, man. Holy cow, man. The nerve on that one. All right. So now we are into our second video, chat. This is the meat and potatoes of today's stream. This is what I've wanted to get to. This video is entitled Watch. Jasmine Crocket shows no mercy to Marjorie Green, best of 2024. You know, I know we in 2025 right now, but you know, I never think it's too late to see a good roast. I think this is a really good roast, and every now and then motherfuckers need to get grilled. So Miss Marjorie Green, you up. It's finna get wicked.
Eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Whoa.
Order,
Hold on.
Mr. Chairman.
That's beneath
Would
even
you
you
order
engage.
Hold on. We gotta play it back.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about
just
AG.
I don't
Point
think
of-
you
point
know
of
what
order.
you're here
President.
for.
Well, you the one talking about. I guess
I
you
think
still
your
stuck in the
fake
courtroom.
eyelashes are messing up.
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's
beneath
would
even
you
you
order
engage the
beneath
order
even
of your
you.
committee.
Order.
I'm
That's
just
beneath
curious,
even
just to
you.
better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Chairman,
Say it again.
I make a motion
Say
to
it
strike
again.
those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
I'm
Parliament.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to
I had
strike
no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna
can't
do
keep
this.
up
Look,
then,
you guys
buddy.
earlier literally just
I-
said
you
that.
just-
did it first.
voted to do
Y'all did it
it.
first, so you
You
don't
just
talk
voted
about
to
But
do
you
it.
say you're gonna have
Order,
Marjorie
order.
on
I'm
the
trying to
lead.
get
Okay.
clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm
No,
down.
because this
I
is
will
what
let
y'all
you get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying
Hey,
to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Miss
Bro, and this is what they do. They throw a stone when they live in a glass house, And when somebody throw a boulder at that bitch, now they want to cry about it. Hey, Chad, hey, she barked up the wrong tree. And Miss Jasmine Crocket got time today.
I can't hear you with your yelling. Calm down.
No,
Please
don't
calm down.
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk
Please calm
noise
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman.
See, I hate the way they do this shit. Calm down, you're out of control, yet you're speaking over me. What makes you think that you can control me by speaking over me? That's absolutely insane. So you think you're going to get louder than me to tell me to be quiet? Nah, this ain't how that works.
Bruh.
I don't know who you think you is, but nah, this ain't how that works. Let me have my space.
Can we send her take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
Oh, man, you know they couldn't wait for her to curse. The moment she said that one curse word, everybody tilted.
All right, Chair,
I don't know why
okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Ms. Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
This is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege.
Who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Gee, she going in. I don't even know who this woman is.
Mr. Chairman,
if the ladies recognize...
If the gentle lady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Hold on, Chad. I had to blow my nose. I'm sorry, y'all.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the
You
chairman.
keep interrupting.
I don't know that he's a lady.
It was...
Damn, bro. This is how they getting down in Congress?
Bruh.
These are the people we voted for?
The spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. To be clear, whatever happens to your little leader, it's going to be because of the actions that he took. So you can talk all you want to about how January 6th was nonsense, but all of y'all were running at that time. Y'all were grabbing y'all's gas masks and y'all were running to your offices because you didn't know if they were coming to kill you. You should have cared that somebody was there to protect you, but instead you want to play games because you found out that it was your leader that decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country.
Hey, clock that shit. Y'all was scared as hell on January 6th now. Y'all was scared as hell.
So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't. All you care about is Trump getting reelected, and I'll yield the last of my time to my leader.
During that time, under the guise of COVID, Congress appropriated billions, $189 billion to the ESSER fund to restore educational services after COVID-19. Of course, like everything else, the government throws taxpayer dollars at. The money was often used inappropriately. And while there were some school districts that appropriately spent the funds, there were many, and unfortunately far too many, that used it for nonsense like DEI programs, critical race theory.
Why is critical race nonsense? And DEI isn't nonsense when, like, conducted correctly. What are you talking about?
Gender ideology and other work programming.
I just want to be clear. I'm gonna go to the end real quick, because I know that was brought up. Critical race theory.
Exactly. Let's talk about it.
Is that typically taught K through 12? Yes or no? No. Okay, all right. So we can stop with the nonsense because K through 12 was not teaching critical race theory, at least in this country. I can't talk about what happens in other countries, but in our country, K through 12 is not learning critical race theory, just for those that are unfamiliar.
From day one, when Joe Biden took the oath of office, he issued an all-out assault on American energy. President Biden's war on fossil fuels doesn't cover all oil and gas. It only covers American oil and gas. And maybe that's the most perplexing part of his failed policies that angers people. And people have figured this out.
We have this thing called climate change that's taking place. And right now, especially in the state of Texas, we are losing so much of our farmland because of this thing called climate change. We just had wildfires that destroyed fires. We know that right now, when it comes to our sugar crops, we're having issues because it takes 6 years just to raise a sugar crop. So guess what? We've got to be creative. And honestly, if we would allow the Republicans to continue to decide on what we are going to do when it relates to energy, well, by gosh darn it, I think we'd still be in horse and buggy.
Mr. Hamilton, I don't want you to feel left out of this conversation. So, I'm going to make sure I ask you some questions. Let me know if you're having problems answering them, because they really should be yes or no. Let's see. You're the executive director for the America First Legal, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And America First Legal is a member of Project 2025, which is dedicated to creating the playbook for the next conservative administration and what it calls the Project Pillars, correct?
We are proud contributors to Project 2025.
Okay. And are you familiar with Project 2025's mandate for leadership?
In fact, I am.
Okay. And in fact, you wrote some of the sections of this mandate related to the DOJ, correct?
Sure did.
And the mandate outlines policy priorities for the next.
You said what?
Conservative president. Is that correct?
It does.
You've done a great job. I just want to let you know. All right, so let's walk through some of the provisions of the mandate. It calls for eliminating the Department of Education, eliminating the Department of Commerce, deploying the military for the use of domestic law enforcement against protesters under the Insurrection Act of 1807. It also has the repealing of Schedule F status for thousands of federal employees to allow a president to replace career civil servants with unqualified partisan loyalists. That's probably my favorite of it. It also prohibits the FBI from combating the spread of misinformation and disinformation, like Russia and China, who are actively trying to interfere with American elections. I don't know why or how anybody can support Project 2025. And I know that there was allegedly a joke about dictators and whether or not that's funny, but in the United States of America, dictatorships are never funny, and Project 2025 is giving the playbook for authoritarianism as well as the next dictator to come in.
Mr. Bobulinski, I know that you take exception to the fact that your credibility has been called into question over and over, but when someone comes to testify under oath, whether it's before this committee, behind closed doors, or in person, then we have to evaluate someone's credibility. And sir, I definitely have always had issues with your credibility, as I know that you are very well aware of. So let me remind you of what happened behind closed doors.
Well, you should ask Ro Khanna about my credibility.
You a question.
What?
Okay?
You are?
When I haven't. So when I ask you a question, that's when you answer. Otherwise, I'm talking. So.
Oh, you better get it, girl. You better fucking go.
Excuse me?
Reapportionment is going to occur in 6 years. And the idea is that you bring a couple million, 8, 10, 12 million people into this country, and you lure them with social safety net programs, you lure them with government benefits, and they go to the blue states. They go to the cities that offer wildly disproportionate social benefits to those in need.
I mean, but why not? If you need and you're looking for government assistance and you can pick any of these 50 states to go to, why wouldn't you go to a state that you can get more help from? It's like, that's not that. Why is that even a thing? Why shouldn't you be able to go where you want to go to get help in the fucking United States, bro? What are we talking about?
And that's what we're seeing in New York, but they're going there. And I guess when the census occurs, it's going to result in New York and California and Illinois receiving a disproportionate percent of their representation, because we do not apportion the census based off of citizens. We apportion the census based off of humans. And I mean, I think that's a big problem.
I do want to address the last things that were brought up.
Then at that point, if y'all doing a census based off of population and not citizenship, then come on, bro. How are you saying these people are truly undocumented? How are they getting benefits if they're not citizens? What are we talking about, bro?
About the census.
They can't vote. How are they influencing anything?
And I'm not really sure if my colleague recognizes that Texas actually got 2 new congressional seats. The state of Texas actually grew a whopping 4 million people. And because of those 4 million people that came into Texas, or from wherever they came from, we actually got 2 new congressional seats, which Texas historically has been a red state, and New York actually lost a seat, which historically has been a blue state. So I did want to make sure we put some facts on the record. They want to talk about the Ukrainians got all of these Nazis.
Yo, why she got a tweet hanging over her head, though? That's hilarious. Hey, that's funny. I'm sorry.
It's amazing to me that just in a few years' time, it's now considered misinformation to talk about the Nazis in Ukraine.
Well, let me tell you something. You can find Nazis anywhere. You can.
Hey, you better say it.
Find them right here in the United States. In fact, a bunch of the people that they're calling victims and prisoners of war, also known as convicted felons from January 6th. I have an article that I'd like to enter into the record by unanimous consent that says neo-Nazi January 6th rioter pleads guilty.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. So here's the point. We have people in this chamber that are actually causing just as much a threat, if not more of a threat, to our own country. We should be talking about holding our very own accountable for the misinformation and disinformation that they are spreading, whether it's coming out of China, whether it's coming out of Russia, or whoever is peddling it. It is a problem, because right now what we see is that people are dying, and we cannot get the support that we need from the public because they continue to peddle lies. And I'm tired of it, because I didn't come to this chamber to play games. I came to this chamber to answer to the people, the American people, and to make sure that we keep the American people safe.
This is a ridiculous.
Hey, personally, I haven't followed her whole career, but I really, really enjoy her voice in Congress. I really enjoy it. She is giving these old white men a hard time, and you know what? Good for her. Good for her. I know she probably stressed the hell out, but she looks like she's handling it with grace and dignity, and she's doing one hell of a job. Hey, hats off to you, Jazz.
So ridiculous as to raise the suspicion that it's intended solely to render the bill unworkable and meaningless. This amendment would serve only to challenge law enforcement who are properly doing their job to stop smugglers and illegal aliens from terrorizing their communities.
If the gentleman has
opposition and has an offer to define actively assisting, then that would be great. But the reality is that what's going to happen is what we've seen happen in the state of Texas, where we have a governor who has murders on his hand, as far as I'm concerned, because we've had active deaths at the hands of mishandling this. If this is going to be a federal issue, then the federal government needs to be the ones that are absolutely going to be over federal law.
Pretending to take that ivermectin is dangerous or claiming that it's horse medicine, would you not agree that that's the exact definition of misinformation?
I would not agree with that. They're very well done randomized trials showing no benefit of ivermectin.
And you knew that in 2021?
I was not at the FDA.
No, you didn't know that in 2021. Has ivermectin been successfully used in medical treatments?
Successfully used for worms, but no effective treatment for
It's been administered
ivermectin.
in humans billions of times over the last, 30 years? Correct?
Again, for the treatment of worms.
What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about? Is horse medicine good for humans? Is that the conversation?
Caleb, let me ask this. What do you think that that tweets like this garner credibility to an organization like the FDA? Do you think that snarky tweets that I would think that my teenage daughters might write, do you think that that garners credibility with the FDA and the American people?
I can't really comment on that. And again, I wasn't at the FDA when that tweet was put out.
I don't know how long you were asked about ivermectin. And let me tell you something. I don't know if you've ever testified in court, but you will be a great witness because you refused to answer the way that he wanted you to, which would have been, again, putting out misinformation. What is so interesting about this hearing is that basically what the Republicans are arguing for is carte blanche. We should be allowing anybody to say whatever, and that's how we get so much Russian propaganda. I was able to produce some that was spread by one of my colleagues in another hearing. This is the problem. This is why China is coming after America. This is why we see the Russians coming after America, because we have people that will continue to spread their lies, and in spreading their lies, they're causing harm to Americans instead of these people in this chamber doing what they are supposed to do, which is to protect the American people and use the Constitution, because not every country has a Constitution that protects the people. And so I would like that this party stop peddling Putin's lies and focus on making sure that we can put forth truth that we can all respect and understand. And with that, I will yield.
Would you agree that debt is one of the biggest challenges facing our country?
The president believes deeply in fiscal responsibility and put forward a budget. Director Young was here in front of House Budget testifying on on the president's approach.
The federal government is going to have to do more with less. We have to get our spending under control, and we got to grow the economy to create additional tax revenue to pay our way out of the debt that we're under. I appreciate all that you're doing to help save taxpayer dollars. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
There were some questions posed to you specifically about debt. And there seemed to be a concern about the mounting debt. And I am going out on a limb, and I am going to ask you if you are aware of how much debt we added under the Trump administration, out of curiosity. If you don't know, I know off the top of my head, but something tells me you may know.
I have an imprecise number. I bet you have the precise number in front of you, so I don't want to give you the imprecise number if you have the precise.
No. Give me the imprecise.
No, please.
Well, I'm going off of my head because that wasn't part of what I was supposed to say. But long story short, $8 trillion.
Hold on. She said $8 trillion. What?
Dollars was added under the Trump administration. And so I think that it is important that we focus on making sure that we're keeping our debt under control. But I think it's also important that we're honest about how that debt is accrued and make sure that we don't continue to make the same mistakes. I know that the election was brought up, and there are those that are standing by their man, but they also seem to be concerned about debt, which seems like the two don't go together, because we know that their
man actually is really good at running up the credit card debt for this country because he likes to give tax breaks to his very rich friends, which means that we don't get as much money coming through the door when they are not required to pay their fair share. So I just wanted to make sure that we put that out there. Have you ever heard?
Gee, she be cooking their ass, bro. She literally be cooking their ass. And it's like, I wish I had more commentary, but gee, I'm just in awe. You know, it is what it is. I'm just enjoying the ride at this point, Chad.
Of Project 2025?
I've read about that, Congresswoman.
Okay. And there are some things indicated in Project 2025 that are quite concerning to me. And I want to talk about a few of those topics because this hearing almost feels like a Project 2025 hearing. One of those topics is diversity in the workplace. The agenda includes making sure that the next conservative administration dismantles DEI apparatus by eliminating various chief diversity officer positions, et cetera. And you engaged in an exchange earlier with one of my colleagues, and I don't know if you recall, but it was hitting me a little differently as a Black woman sitting here, because it almost seemed as if you either get diversity or you get qualifications. It did not seem as if my colleague understood that someone can be diverse and qualified. And it is why you have people like me that get very frustrated, not just in the halls of Congress, but in general in this country. Because as I'm sitting here, and there seemed to be this question of you're either diverse or you're qualified, all I could think about was the fact that I currently hold an honorary doctorate. I also hold a Juris Doctorate. I also hold a bachelor's. I also technically hold the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the Civil Air Patrol, and I actually practiced law for almost 2 decades, in addition to serving on various boards, in addition to being a prior state lawmaker.
Chat. She's cooking, eating their ass up. It's like, yeah, nah, bro, for real. It is highly offensive to say that, yeah, nah, you got this job because you was Black, or you got this job because you was qualified. But for the fact that you can't be Black and qualified is like, or a woman and qualified. You feel me? It's like it's offensive, bro. It's like, what are we talking about, man? And I didn't realize she was as decorated as she was, but holy cow, man. She make me double think my whole goddamn life, man. I can't even, oh my God. That's hey. Holy shit. Make you look at yourself, right?
And there are those that would make some people believe that because I happen to be Black and or a woman, that somehow, even though I can rattle off all the qualifications in the world, my Blackness makes me unqualified. My question to you is that the attitude that you subscribe to?
Absolutely not, Congresswoman. In fact, what we do at OPM every day is look to knock down barriers that are keeping qualified people like yourself, qualified people from all across America for pursuing federal jobs.
I see a lot of hypocrisy from.
No, what we do at Giga Chad Megacorp is pledge allegiance to Black women every morning. And then we go and kiss a little immigrant baby and tell everybody that we love them. We actually send $5 each individually to Ethiopia so they can all eat every single day. Here at Giga Chad Megacorp, we believe that everybody's qualified no matter how tall they are.
My colleagues on the other side of the aisle today, and even worse so, the fact that they want to place an attack on democracy on Trump or Republicans is actually hysterical. Biden called Xi Jinping a smart guy, end quote. He described his relationship with Xi Jinping as a, quote, friendship. He said of the CCP, Joe Biden said directly, that they're not bad folks. He said also that it's in our own self-interest that China continues to prosper. But is it? It's not actually. It's actually unsafe for the entire world, not just the United States. The left is trying to dismantle freedom. They're trying to dismantle liberty. They are trying to dismantle the Constitution and everything our founding fathers and our nation was founded on in this country today. So I would like us to have a more honest discussion about what is actually happening in this country, what we're doing, and more importantly, not doing to combat CCP.
In addition to making sure that we can outline some of the things that it was Trump that said, I think my colleague from South Carolina may have gotten confused about who said what, but these are things that Trump has said about Xi. Smart, brilliant, everything perfect. We love each other. President Xi, who's a friend of mine, who's a very, very good man. There's nobody like that. The look, the brain, the whole thing. My feeling towards you is an incredibly warm one. This doesn't sound like someone that has any intentions of being hard on China, in my opinion.
And you raised this in your testimony, Mr. Fahey. The opportunity cost. When Alvin Bragg did the day one memo, says we are not going to charge all these felonies, we're going to bring them down to misdemeanors and let the bad guys roam the streets of New York. How that squares with what happened here, that to me is the real issue. That's the issue that most Americans see, like, we're going to do this to the former president of the United States, meanwhile, take felony charges against really bad guys on the street and bring them down to misdemeanors. That's the opportunity cost here, I believe.
All right, after he got that out the way, I just want to take a second to say, steel frame on Miss Crocket here, gorgeous. Face tee, hair tee, nah, definitely about to cook some shit up. Look at her, look, just look at this woman. She got bad intentions on her mind. She about to cook somebody's ass. It might even be you, Mr. Man.
In Manhattan, you get the last word, Mr. Fahey.
Yeah, exactly. When you're letting carjackers out on bail or illegal immigrants that assault police officers aren't getting prosecuted, but this is the way you're using your time, in addition to the fact you run on a soft on crime policy and then you take the most creative, aggressive approach to this crime, it's hard to argue it's anything other than a political motivation.
Okay, I got a lot of ground to cover. I do want to clarify, Mr. Fahey, when you consistently talk about or New York crime, you're speaking in an opinionated stance. You're not speaking from a place of fact, correct?
No, I'm speaking from a place of facts.
Okay, well, let me clarify for you. Thank you so much. I'm reclaiming my time. Let me clarify for you that NYPD puts out reports. And in April, it said overall index crime across New York City dropped another 4.9%. As it relates to May, the report says overall index crime across New York dropped another 2.4%, and June's report hasn't come out. I would ask for unanimous consent to enter this into the record. You know, there's a lot of conversation around rolling back regulations. My colleagues continuously talk about rolling back regulations and not really understanding the importance of these guardrails.
President Biden's radical agenda has pushed out massive, costly regulations.
Often we see agencies abuse the separation of powers, creating rules and laws, regulations without consent of Congress.
Grid operators around the country are sounding alarm about the potential disruptions, blackouts, brownouts due to regulations, particularly the Clean Power Plan 2.0 rule.
The EPA regulations are unsustainable for Americans, and believe me, Republicans want clean air and water too, but the climate cult has got to end.
And so I just want you to listen to a situation that technically impacted your agency. In 2018, Trump made sure that he scrapped a 2015 Obama-era rule requiring advanced braking technology on trains transporting particularly hazardous materials. That rule would have required compliance by certain trains by 2021 and others by 2023. But as Fortune reported at the time, Trump's Department of Transportation decided that the cost of installing these more sophisticated brakes outweighed the benefit. While it has been noted that technically the rule would not have required the Norfolk Southern train that derailed in Ohio to have such brakes, some believe it would have if not for Trump. Norfolk Southern estimates that it will spend more than $1 billion to address the contamination caused by the East Palestine derailment and improve rail safety and operations, which includes this settlement with the United States valued at over $310 million, as well as around $780 million in environmental. Regulations are made to protect people from potential disasters such as this. And I can pretty much probably guess that the people of East Palestine would have preferred that there would have been some protections that would have kept them from enduring that terrible situation.
Ms. Cheadle, you said that the buck stops with me, and I agree. I don't think you should resign. I think you should have been fired. Ma'am, you are a DEI horror story. I've told my daughter multiple times, my wife and my daughter, we talk to her all the time about how she's going to succeed in life. She'll succeed in life by achieving. Ma'am, you have not achieved today. You've let the American public down. If it was up to me, you'd be gone.
Let me just pick up where my colleague from Tennessee left off. Director Cheadle, was the incident on July 13th due to DEI, or rather systemic failures in communication and potentially safety protocols?
The incident on the 13th has nothing to do with DEI. The incident on the 13th has to do with a failure or a gap either in planning or communication.
Thank you so much. In fact, I have a few articles that I will enter into the record once I wrap up that actually acknowledge a number of women specifically for their valor in their service, whether it's been in various levels of law enforcement. I'm just curious, and this is yes or no. Is Trump's name ever mentioned in Project 2025? Yes or no? Just yes or no. I got you.
Within the document itself,
yes.
There are a number of references to the former administration.
So is Trump's name mentioned just one time?
I believe it's mentioned more.
Okay. 5 times.
I haven't counted.
Oh, okay. Well, if I told you that his name is mentioned approximately 312 times, would you have any reason to dispute that?
I don't have any reason.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's interesting that we want to try to pretend. We're not going to pretend in here. We're going to work with facts and not fiction.
So I have a series of questions for you, Mr. Santos, that are yes or no. And so I would ask that you use yes or no when I ask these questions. Did the U.S. Census Bureau do anything to identify the immigration or citizenship status of individuals surveyed during the 2020 census, yes or no?
No.
Are illegals counted in the census, yes or no?
Yes, if they're permanent residents.
Bro, what are we talking about? So, an illegal immigrant that has permanent residence is in the census. So it's like y'all know about them, but what? I don't get the process. Maybe that's gonna be the next stream. How do you become a United States citizen? We about to take the Constitution again, Chad.
If they reside in the U.S.
Okay, so when you're doing the census with folks and asking the question, you're asking them if you're not asking if they're a citizen. You're asking, do you ask if they're a permanent resident?
We asked folks to list everyone who lives at that residence.
Okay, but you're saying you're only counting illegals if they're a permanent resident.
Oh, if they live at that residence. It's the interpretation of the instructions.
So your definition of permanent residence is that they live at a place in the U.S., at a U.S. address.
Yes, I believe I misspoke because there's a legal definition to permanent. Yeah, to permanent resident. It's someone who usually lives at that address.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Are illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, the people that break the law coming into our country when they enter in the door illegally, are they counted in the U.S. Census, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when we're counting non-citizens, when we're counting illegals, criminal illegal aliens in the census, yes or no?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when you are counting criminal illegal aliens in the U.S. Census?
I do not know.
Okay, Chad. I think I know where she's going with this. So even though an illegal alien can't vote, they can raise the population of a city and overall state, ultimately gaining more electoral college votes. That number can change based off of population. The population is not based off of citizenship, it's based off of the occupancy of the area, the true population. Whether they're illegal or not, they supposed to be counted in the census. And her position is, if they're going to a blue state, if a whole bunch of illegal immigrants are going to a blue state, wouldn't that just skew the electoral college votes higher on the blue side? I think that's where she's going. I feel like, I could probably try to explain this shit better, but I'm already like barely hanging on as it is. So just bear with me, chat.
Oh, you absolutely know. Because apportionment is based on what? Is it based on what? Population?
Yes.
Population based on counts in the what? U.S. Census?
Correct.
All right. You're the director of the U.S. Census Bureau, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, you in trouble, buddy.
Why is this so difficult for you to answer honestly?
Well, no, it is what it is. So
What
if there's
is
more
what it is?
population,
What is
then
what it
you get.
is? You just said you didn't know if there were political implications for congressional apportionment in the Electoral College
Well,
when you're counting illegals.
In all honesty, I am not a politician. I'm a scientist, and so we.
Oh my God. Way to cop out.
Skip it up and that up.
You don't sound like a scientist. You don't sound like a scientist right now, buddy. You don't. You're backtracking.
We do our counts according to
Okay,
the
Mr.
Constitution.
You should be speaking in facts, data, and statistics if you are a scientist. It shouldn't be no gray areas if you're a scientist, bro. Get it together.
Oh shit!
Science, Mr. Science.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
When you're doing apportionment, we're doing congressional seats based on population that includes illegal aliens. Does that have a political impact in campaigns when you're drawing those lines and having people vote in those elections?
They are counted in apportionment. Yes.
Okay. You're not being honest this morning, and I think it's a slap in the face to the American people.
It is interesting that we're having this hearing, and I know one thing that I have learned so far is that while freshman orientation just ended, we need a course on what the census is for, because we have people sitting in Congress and have no idea what the census is for. And so I do appreciate that you have talked about what the funding is for, but it seems like my colleagues really want to zero in on southern states. So let's talk about Texas for a second. And let's deal with them and their concerns about their districts. And let's also talk about the citizen situation. So I don't know how much you've paid attention to the election, but we do have an incoming administration, and we have a border czar who has said that they are going to deport everyone that is here and is not a citizen. They are planning to do mass deportations. In fact, in the state of Texas, our commissioner has offered up land so that they can put these camps there and send people out of our country. Now, if you start asking people, are you a citizen or not, and they're living in a home and somebody's threatening to go in and raid homes and take everybody out and send them back to wherever they came from, I mean, I would imagine that may make people say, never mind, I'm not going to fill this out. But I mean, has that been your finding or no?
We have conducted research that shows that there can be selective inclusion of individuals who reside in a residence because of
Exactly.
And that's my thing. If you're an illegal alien, if you're an illegal immigrant, and you don't plan on getting citizenship, why the hell would you fill out a census?
Because you've got the federal government that is asking this question, and it's the same federal government that is threatening to go and yank people out of their schools, their homes, and things like that. And then we just had a conversation where we were talking about how many voters. Listen, when you're counting people, you're not just counting voters. You count children, don't you?
Correct.
You count a lot of people that aren't necessarily voters. And I want to make sure that we really get to the nitty-gritty on Texas, because this is hilarious to me. Texas added 2 seats. In 2020, according to the census, and we know that there was a significant undercount, specifically in Texas for a combination of reasons, but we know that specifically Texas added 4 million people. Of those 4 million people, do you want to take a guess at how many were Anglos? Just a guess.
I'd say a majority.
180,000. That's it, of 4 million. 95% of the people that were added, and we know that when it comes to minority populations, they tend to be undercounted. So get this, we added 4 million people. They were people of color. Texas got 2 new seats. So they took those black and brown and Asian bodies, and guess what? Do you think that we got a new black, brown, or Asian seat? Somehow, the way that they do their Republican math in the state of Texas, that amounted to 2 new white seats. Guess what? White Republican seats. We got 2 new Republican seats out of 4 million people of color. So let me tell you, they love to use our bodies to apportion us in an inaccurate way. All right? So when we talk about our districts, I also want to talk about something that Texas is taking advantage of that I've worked on a lot. In fact, I did legislation on. It is called prison gerrymandering. I don't know if you are familiar with it.
I'm familiar.
But here is the reality. The numbers show that in rural Texas, they were constantly bleeding population. Urban Texas was growing exponentially. But what they do is they count inmates where they are imprisoned instead of counting them where it is that they will return to. So their family members that are in Dallas, Texas, or Houston, or wherever, their family members, when they need something, they call us, even if it's relating to that inmate. But somehow rural Texas is getting better roads than they probably deserve because they're counting those inmates that are not driving on those roads. They're counting those inmates that are not using their hospitals. They're counting those inmates whose children are not attending their schools because of prison gerrymandering. So again, Republicans are really good about using black and brown bodies, because I can also tell you that the numbers are clear that we have a black and brown incarceration issue, not just in Texas, but in this country. And in fact, the state of Texas incarcerates more people than any other independent democratic country. That is how bad our incarceration is just in the state of Texas. And I've got so many great colleagues on this committee that actually benefit from being able to do things like that. So listen, this is about resources. It's about putting the resources where the people are. And I am curious to know, for whoever goes next, do you ask your constituents when they call your office, are you a citizen or not? Because at the end of the day, I have to handle immigration cases as well in my office. We are elected to represent the people regardless of their citizenship, and we have to help them because they reside in our districts. Thank you, and I'll yield. So,
All right, Chad, that's a little to unpack. That's a little bit to unpack. So if I'm not mistaken, prison gerrymandering is, goddamn, they're taking the population of a prison and basically saying that they live where the prison is. In reality, these people are from all different types of places. It's like, where did they come from? Where are they going back to? Her argument is those people are getting counted for that community. I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion on that. I think it is a little weird though. But
many of you know that I practice law, but some of you don't realize that I actually was a business major out of Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee. And the emphasis that I got in my business degree was on finance.
And as I traveled the country campaigning this election cycle, one of the things that I talked about was this idea that in finance, we always promote this idea of diversity. If you know anything about a portfolio, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that it's as diverse as possible, because at times certain stocks will perform better than others, and they will exemplify various strengths and weaknesses. And together, a diverse portfolio is usually what any good finance person would promote. They wouldn't promote that you solely invest in vanilla wafers, believing that that is going to be the strongest portfolio, but instead they may want to add some chocolate cake and some Twinkies into the mix to make sure that we have the best portfolio, because there will be different preferences by different people. And again, there will be different strengths. But as I sit here and I think about what we say and what I'm hearing as it relates to diversity when it comes to anything outside of making money, and to be clear, we are losing GDP every time we try to push back on this idea of diversity, because all of us bring something different to the table. But you consistently said over and over the word oppression, and every time that you said it, it was almost as if I was hearing nails on a chalkboard, because it seems like you don't understand the definition of oppression, and I'd ask you to just refer to Google to help you out. Oppression is the prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. That is the definition of oppression. And so as I sit here as a Black woman who practiced civil rights, let me tell you, the reason that my colleagues wanted to make sure you understood the same Black history that your side of the aisle wants to delete out of classrooms is because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed. That's not the definition of oppression. You tell me the prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment that you've had, and we can have a conversation.
You could start with Exodus.
The final thing that
You can start with Exodus.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Skip it up and down.
that I will say on this particular issue, two things. There is an article from The Guardian, and it is a little old. It's from 2021, so I apologize. But it said that back then, just 3 years ago, white men represent 30% of the population, but 62% of office holders. These are the issues that we are constantly looking at and recognizing and trying to say, is this just? I can't even tell you how many white men have served in this chamber, but I can tell you that I am only the 55th black woman to be elected to Congress. And so when you want to talk about history and pretend as if it was so long ago, it wasn't. Because again, I am just number 55. Finally, when we start to talk about what do these numbers do, as we're trying to say the diversity, equity, and inclusion is the problem, the reality is that when it comes to financial performance, companies with more diverse workforces are more likely to outperform their competitors. Companies in the top quartile for racial diversity are 35% more likely to outperform their peers on profitability. Companies with diverse executive teams are 25% more likely to generate greater profits. Diverse companies earn 2.5 times higher cash flow per employee. Diversity works. And until you can show me data that says otherwise, I think that we need to go back to being a country that listens to experts and gets out of our feelings and recognizes, again,
that racism is real in this country, and until we stop pretending that it's not, we will not solve the problems that we are consistently facing, and that will bring real unity that we seek when we're looking for a more perfect union.
Does any other member seek recognition?
Okay, all right. So we love the Constitution today, and we also want to talk about foreign money coming in. Have y'all seen the report that was just produced where this chairman decided that he was going to block this committee from receiving additional information about y'all's guy, Trump, and all the money that he took? From what we did receive, we know that Trump got almost $6 million that we can account for, and we know that there's more there. From China specifically, we found almost $8 million total that he accepted from foreign governments while he was serving as the president of these United States. But we're concerned about the president's son who has not been involved in his administration. I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning, because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something. You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules. And right now what you want to do is have two separate sets of rules because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply. And let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. In every single hearing, y'all spin, spin, spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth. You talk about free and fair elections, but you back a guy who we know tried to steal the election. And this isn't about what Democrats have to say. Let me remind you, for those of you that don't know how the justice system works, it's not a matter of the president went in and indicted Trump, but we are talking about grand juries. Grand juries are comprised of American citizens, and the people that have entered pleas of guilty that will be flipping on your leader in a minute, they are Republicans. I do want to point that out. And half of them were Republicans that were handpicked by Donald Trump himself.
I'd like to just add a couple of points to what you've said. On January 6th, Senator Ted Cruz described it as terrorism. They later came to attack him during their revisionist, Orwellian, Stalinist attempt to rewrite history. Unfortunately for them, we know that there were 147 or 48 of our officers who were wounded, bloodied, and hospitalized by the rabid
Terrorists.
mob that beset the Capitol that day. We know that Kevin McCarthy, one of their deposed leaders over on their side, called Donald Trump from his office to complain about how his people were storming the Capitol and putting people's lives in danger. And Donald Trump said, no, those aren't my people, those are Antifa. And McCarthy corrected him, said, no, those are your people, Mr. President. To which Donald Trump said, well, maybe they just care a little bit more about who won the election than you did, Kevin McCarthy. You guys have got to deal with reality here. By the way, the speech and debate clause stands for the exact opposite principle who our distinguished new member just spoke about a moment ago. It says that members of Congress cannot be questioned anywhere else other than Congress. So he should read the speech or debate clause aloud.
Let him finish his sentence there. Now, Chair recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
In addition to that, we just heard about AFT and what they're advocating for. And I know that there was a comment that you made as relates to discipline and how that's something AFT should be advocating for so that teachers can be safer. Is that correct? Am I characterizing what you said correctly?
I believe that both the NEA and the AFT should endorse policies that keep educators safe. Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you a quick question. Actually, I would like for all three of you to answer this question. It's just a yes or no. We'll start at this end. When you were growing up and going through school, did you ever have to go through an active shooter drill? Yes or no?
No.
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 Oh, okay. All right. So can we agree that guns being kept out of schools may be one of those things that could keep not only teachers safe, but also students safe? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Okay. Thank you. So I do want to touch on a few things that Ms. Ocasio-Cortez talked about, because I don't really know the breadth of your understanding or experiences. But to give a little clarity to the district that I come from, 20% of my district live at or below poverty. And I do come from an urban district. I do have a majority minority district. I know that we've talked about DEI and diversity. And I find that when I'm here, I am constantly fighting to make sure that I can break through the noise and the stereotypes that exist around not only my kiddos in my district, but just my constituents. And one of the things that maybe some of you have never experienced, I don't know, is the fact that one of the leading reasons that students in my district don't show up to school is because they are poor, because some of them are homeless. We found that there were children that didn't go to school because they didn't have clean clothes. That is something that certain people don't have to worry about. And they found that if they brought in washing machines so that kids wouldn't make fun of them because they had clean clothes, that they would show up. These are things that maybe in a more affluent district, they may not need money for. So while one of my colleagues talked about how much investment has to go into some of these school districts in the inner city, I do want to make it clear that there are different obstacles that my kiddos deal with. In addition to the fact that I practice criminal defense work prior to coming into the legislative realm. And in my district, I have the highest incarcerated zip codes in the entire state. What that means is that sometimes I have children that go home and they don't have parents to go home to. Or if they are going home to parents, their parents may be involved in things that aren't necessarily the best things for kids to be around. And so, as it's already been stated, sometimes the safest space is at school for some of these children. And what is so annoying to me is that we debate whether or not we will invest in our futures. As far as I'm concerned, there is no better investment than in our children. Because if we are going to make sure that this country continues on, it's not going to start by investing in people that look like me or of my age. It starts with making sure that there's a foundation. And I just want to say that I am thankful for those teachers that decided to go in, even when they were under-resourced, even given of their own resources, to make it happen. I lost teachers in my district during the pandemic because they literally risked their lives in the midst of a pandemic to show up because they love those kids that much. Because I can tell you, the pay is not there. Teachers aren't getting rich. Maybe professors, but not teachers. And so the fact is, I've talked to my school districts. They were able to take advantage of the extra money that was given to them. But guess what? They still had gaps that they needed to fill. And the reason that I brought up gun violence is, number one, it's a safety issue, but also as it relates to the mental health. Children nowadays know where they need to go in case somebody comes in. They're looking for the closet. That is no way for kids in America to live. So we need to make sure that we put kids first. Thank you so much. And with that, I will yield.
I'd like to draw your attention.
Touch on that for a second. So with the teachers, man, I didn't even realize they had to pay for as much as they actually had to pay for as far as like class supplies and all of that stuff, man. I just thought that, you know, maybe it was a write-off. Maybe it came with the position. Maybe they had some type of like card from the school or something like that. like a teacher's credit card. I didn't know how it worked. I was, you know, basically the age I am now, finding out that teachers had to pay for almost everything they use out of pocket. And, you know, at that point, they already not getting paid that much. They already got to do work outside of school. You know what I mean? It's truly a passion job. It's truly a job of passion, because I don't understand how it's a sustainable career. It's just, you know, I truly applaud all our teachers out there. Y'all are man, special individuals that we definitely need. I want y'all to get paid more. I definitely do.
Mention to a tweet that I know that you're familiar with. On the post for it, it says, "You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Seriously, y'all, stop it." Another sarcastic tweet from the FDA read, "Hold your horses, y'all. Ivermectin may be trending, but it isn't authorized or approved to treat COVID-19. The FDA put out these messages in 2021 and made similar posts on the other platforms to discourage people from using ivermectin to prevent or treat COVID. In January 2022, the FDA was sued by a number of doctors who claimed that you were practicing medicine as an organization. As part of that settlement, you were forced to delete these. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, in fact, the U.S. Court of Appeals said the FDA is not a physician, and even tweet-sized doses of personalized medical advice are beyond your statutory authority. Is that correct?
That's what the court said.
I'm glad that the courts told you to remove these tweets, because it is snarky. I think it's demeaning to the American people, and certainly demeaning to people, I believe, in my district.
Now, Chair recognizes Ms. Crocket from Texas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Dr. Caleb, thank you so much for being here. You know, you are a brave man. I don't know who would want to sign up for your job, especially in a time in which it seems like we don't believe in science, or we don't know what data is, or we just gonna ignore it. I'm not really sure. I do want to do a quick level set on something, and I don't know how we continue to come back to this, but let me just ask you a few questions. Was COVID-19 real?
Yes, I had it myself twice. I think twice, once or twice.
Did people die?
Just in the U.S. alone, over 1 million people. It was in the top 3 causes of death for many months. And I had friends, you know, I was an intensive care unit doctor. When I came to FDA, I stopped practicing, but my friends in ICUs were overwhelmed. Hospitals had to have trucks backing up to the hospital because there wasn't enough room for all the dead people.
And did vaccines save lives?
Yes, thank you for asking that again. People that are up to date on their vaccines have a significantly lower risk of being dead or admitted to an intensive care unit compared to those who are not up to date on the vaccine. And the worst of all, people not vaccinated at all. That's true on the individual level. If you look at counties.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
In the U.S., the counties with a higher vaccination rate have lower death rates from COVID. If you look at countries, you see the same general relationship. So the vaccines have been highly effective.
Thank you so much.
Not perfect, but highly effective.
I understand. I don't know that there is any perfection. I know that there's none in this chamber. Nevertheless, as a result of an administration that believes in science and data, we now have ARPA-H, which ARPA stands for Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health. And my district, luckily, was the recipient of an ARPA-H customer service
customer experience centers. And I'm so excited because this means that as we are looking at trials, as we're looking at diversifying them, we will have a great opportunity right there in Texas 30. It is a huge investment in science to make sure that we can save lives. And when the next pandemic arrives, we will actually be prepared and have science so that we can stay on top of this. Because the last time I checked, and doctor, correct me if I'm wrong, having a leader suggest that we should inject bleach. Are you aware of anyone being cured of COVID-19 because they injected bleach into their body?
I am unaware of any such thing. If I might comment in general, and this relates back to the discussion about ivermectin. I came along when heart attacks, no one knew what caused a heart attack. That was what I focused on. We tried 100 different things for the treatment of heart attack. Only a couple of them worked. The others didn't.
Bro, are you telling people to inject bleach into their veins, bro? Yes or no? Answer the question. Stop dancing around it.
And the only reason we knew what worked is we went from the idea to doing a well-conducted study, a randomized trial. And then, if it worked, then all the practitioners began to adopt it and use it. So we now treat heart attacks by going to the cath lab, opening the artery, and some medicines that work. Ivermectin has been studied multiple times in randomized trials, no benefit, but it is highly effective for the treatment. I use the word worms as a generic term for the kinds of infections that typically occur in places like Asia that can be devastating. It got a no.
Worms are normally like indicative of parasites, bro. That's normally what worms are, but I digress.
Skip it up and down.
Nobel Prize because it's effective
Yeah.
for those, and it's been a lifesaver, but it's been ineffective in COVID.
I completely understand. The last area that I'm going to touch on in my last 45 seconds, because I am a woman out of the state of Texas, there is no way that I am going to have a conversation and not talk about reproductive access. So out of curiosity, would you consider the medical management of a miscarriage to be potentially a life-saving usage? Yes or no?
I have to decline to answer that because
that is
it's under
perfectly fine.
adjudication by the Supreme Court.
That is perfectly fine. I'm gonna tell you yes, but I'm gonna give you another question that you can answer. Would you consider erectile dysfunction as a life-saving usage for Viagra?
Not life-saving.
Not life-saving. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that based on my research, that mifepristone actually has life-saving characteristics, yet Viagra doesn't. And for those that don't know, Viagra, from my understanding, is actually nearly 10 times greater as it relates to risk of death. Yet for some reason, it's not sitting in the court right now. And I do appreciate the fact that you laid out that when it comes down to getting drugs approved, they actually go through trials. It's not just randomness. You take the randomness, you then say, maybe there's some evidence here, and then you put it through the ringer. After putting it through the ringer for decades, women's lives have been saved. And as a representative from the area that Roe v. Wade actually initiated, I am appalled because for whatever reason, some people want us to go back to horse and buggy in this country. And I think since now maybe we have the internet, maybe we should take advantage of it. And we shouldn't say that we should remain in the times of horse and buggy. And so with that, thank you for the work that the FDA does. I respect your research. I recognize that the courts don't do research. I also recognize that this chamber seemingly doesn't care about research. But because of the work that you do, there are lives that are being saved, and I need you to be funded to the fullest extent to make sure that we can continue to save American lives. Thank you.
There you have it, Cat. And there you have it. Hey, that was a hell of a video, man. She just sitting up there cooking for hours. Yeah, nah, she's definitely the voice we need. Oh my God, it's so much to unpack. I really can't even get back into it. But between the first video and the second, I think we had a great stream today. If you tuned up, followed up, I appreciate you for rocking with me. This is gonna be on YouTube. Follow me at Shroomin Max Reacts. Follow me, subscribe to me, like the video, do all of that cool shit. Hit the little bell, do whatever you gotta do. I'll see you next time. I appreciate it. Have a great day, you beautiful people. Play that theme music. Peace out, baby.
Count your commas, hold your comments. F, dream chase the MMGs, stay scheming. Pop seals and pills, triple stack the bills, we jet lagging, rolling off trees. Whoa. Tell me what you need, 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 whoa. And I got pills, and I got weed. Goddamn, I need a kickstand, young nigga going on that lean. Whoa, tell me what you need. 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 And I got hoes. A couple fiends. They got hoes. And still they dream. So tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Just tell me what you need. Tell me what you need.
Here to heal the rap game, bitch, we at it again. The medicine man, the top right then. I might add her again. Like next time, bring some of your friends. I got hella weed licking Zans. AD to the game, feeling like a veteran man. Catch me in the sky, to shine like a pelican down. Got G's like a Letterman fam. And a team flyer, get hired in my cook on me clan. I'm featuring them. Don't have to let you speak in them bands. Scratch that, two speaking them M. Shrooms got them creeping at her skin. Pop the molly, now she in it to win. I'm straight, I'ma stick to the end. Hold up, the goal is more bucks provide. For mine with rhymes, it's time to show up. Lines supplying, trying to shine like over before it's over. No, the world gon' know it.
And I got pills, and I got weed. Goddamn, I need a kickstand. Young nigga going on that lean. Whoa, tell me what you need. 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 And I got hoes. A couple fiends. They got hoes. And still they dream. So tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Just tell me what you need. Hit my line, call up dispatch. Top flight, big 3, y'all a mismatch. May a hoe steady stand in my wish watch. Now forehead bouncing on my 6-pack. Serve everybody, get that kickback. Breakers and X-Bots like they Kit Kats. This one night she won't forget that. Fucking with the flight, never get your bitch back. Call her. Tired of the lanes, now she fucking with a baller. Smooth pimp walker, real slick talk. The story of my life. To the author. Sprite a little darker, call her. Said she wanna get high, guess what I told her? 94 quarters, smoking with a stoner. Come and take a trip with the flight, it's low, so high, take your order. And I got pills, and I got weed. Goddamn, I need a kickstand. Young nigga gonna whoa. Tell me what you need. 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 Whoa. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Catch the MMG. Stay scheming. Pop pills and pills, we triple stack the bills, we jet lagging, rolling off trees. Ooh. Tell me what you need. Ooh. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Ooh. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need.
Skip it up and down.